Hi, this is a video to show you how to create or assemble the LaserBuzz rubber band gun. This is a completed product. As you see here in front of you are all the pieces that you will need to put it together. The first thing I would like you to do is to sort of lay out all your pieces, kind of group them all together, so same things. If they have a letter or a number on them, put them face up so you can see that, put it together. You will need some Elmer's glue. And of course you can see I have a bag of elastic bands, size 64, that was purchased at Office Depot. Well, let's get started. The first thing you're going to need, pick up the piece that has the number 1 on it. We have a piece that says 1A. That's going to go right here in this slot. Let's just put a little bit of glue. Now, not every piece needs to be glued, but if you travel and you're showing off the gun for sales and stuff, sometimes you just don't want a piece to come off. So we'll just add a little bit of Elmer's glue here. Okay, you got the number 1 piece. I like to add a little glue right here. We're going to find the number 2 piece. As you can see it right here. We're going to lay that right up on top. We'll find the number 3. Put a little bit more glue here again. Here's the number 3 piece. We're going to do the same thing with that. We're going to lay it up here. Before we go too much farther, there's one clip piece that locks us together right here. That's piece number 4. What we're going to want to do is put a little round clip here. I like to add just a little bit of glue to the back side, especially when you're first building this, to hold it all together. I like to put it so the slot faces towards the front of the barrel gun. Kind of wiggle everything to get it through that slot. This just helps everything line up. Also at the same time, the number 5 piece, I'd like to slide it in here. All these pieces kind of make the gun all align. Okay. Now as we put on the next section of gun, as you can see, I just keep pushing it up so it gets it all nice and tight. I like to add a little glue here because I want this to eventually hold into place. When we finish, we're going to slide this so it's just flush to the outside. Now this does not have a number 4 on it, but you can see where it tells you all the places to glue it, just something helpful. We're going to slide that on into place like so. If you notice here, there's another slot. We're going to take, I know it's out of sequence, but the number 2 clip. Put another, not the round, let's call it the hammer clip. Sort of looks like a little hammer. Clip that on there. I'm going to put a little glue on the back just so it holds it in place. Slide that through the slot. When I flip this over, the reason why I want to put glue on it is when I flip it over, I just don't want the pieces to fall out. Okay, let's put a little, I still like a little glue on the front, but all these little spots will hit them. A little bit here. Can never have too much glue. And then of course the last piece. Now I want to slide this piece here. Can you see that? Flush. You're going to play with that as you keep going. And Here, these 3 holes, we have some more clips that we want to put in place. Once again, I'm going to flip that upside down. I'm going to put the round clip on. And then I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the back side to hold it in place. We're going to do that 3 times for each one of the holes. Now I like the clip to point upwards. That piece right there, the outer one, is going to be for the tensioning for the rubber band. Let's get the next one ready. Clip. Little glue. Slide it through. And then, of course, the last one. I'm just going to put the glue here and put the clip on. Okay. Now, in the real world, I would want this. As you can see, this side is completely unfinished. I'd want this to just sit and dry a little bit. Just makes it easier. Make sure this piece is flush down here, because when we flip it upside down, you don't have to hold on to anything to fall out. But because we're in the video, we're just going to keep on moving, and I'm just going to put my hand over everything. Once again, I'm going to put a little glue up here. Find the number 2 piece for this side. It's a little bit harder because you have to get it over all the little slot pieces, but it fell right into place. Put another piece of glue here. And we'll take the number 3 piece. Same thing. Now this one here, you got to go over the top of these. Well, before we do that, we need to put in the trigger mechanism, the rubber band sprocket, and the rubber band. So I'm going to set this down for a minute. I'm going to grab the trigger, and I'm going to grab one of the rubber bands. This is the pivot point. This is where the rubber band goes. Kind of fold up that rubber band, put it through the hole, and pull it so half is on each side. Then we're going to take on the gun. Let me see if I can get this up where you can see it. Here is a washer. Put one washer. Now, no washer goes on this one because this is just for the rubber band tensioner. Washer goes in here for the trigger. Another washer goes here for the rubber band sprocket. We're going to put the trigger mechanism on here. Whoops. This is what makes it easier if you let the glue dry, because right now the piece keeps sliding through. I want to run that rubber band, just kind of have it set up here like this. Many more times we'll have to move it. Hold the trigger in place. Put your sprocket on. We're going to want to put another washer. And another washer over the sprocket. There we go. Now we're ready for the number 3 piece. It's a little bit more trickier because now we have to fit it over so many pieces. So if it looks awkward, it is a little bit. Mostly because I'm trying to show you at the same time. I'm going to pull this rubber band up. We're on. This piece is on. Here we need to put another clip. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right here. Little round clip like before. There, we're locked together for that piece. Let's put a little bit more glue right here. We'll put some more up here on the barrel. And let's put on the number 4 piece. Oh, that went on there pretty slick. Number 4 piece, you still also have this little clip. That's that little hammer clip. I'll just put a little glue right here. Find my little hammer clip and lock it in. There we go. Keep checking, make sure that rubber band is sticking up through there. And now all we have is the last piece to put on. Put my little glue pieces up. My little glue spots. All the places I want. And here we go. Want to make sure this is nice and flush here, equal to both sides. This is all here. Now we have these 3 clips to put on in place here. Just going to put right up here just a little bit of glue. It don't take much. Once again, the round clips. Kind of just pop those into place. Even though the glue wasn't dry on the other side, we have almost a good part of the gun done. Trigger isn't working because we have to put these straps in place and lock it in. What I'd like to do is, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little ridge here, the top bottom one. I want to put a little bit of glue right here. And same thing on the other side. I know the glue bottle is covering it, but if you can see where I put it here. Now I'm going to take this piece here, hook it in one side, hook it on the other side. If you look, now the rubber band is holding. I'm going to take and slide this thing, flip it this way, it's easiest, slide it down in, and then lock that right in. You can play with, while holding this down tight, because it's going to want to pop out, play with your rubber band a little bit so it looks good. That's going to dry into place, and that's what's going to allow your trigger to have that spring to it. That rubber band just stays it right there into place. Now we need to make our barrel. This is where all these pieces come in. You have 2 different ones. You have E and you have F. E goes on the top, F goes on the bottom. I like to do E first. I just like to run a little bit of glue along the length, just so it's something to hold it in place. I like to have the E face forward on the gun, because if I put it this way, that E is going to show right here, and I want it turned that way. So I'm going to start down at the piece right here. I'm going to see if I got I have this little tool I like to use. You could use a screwdriver or something. And what I use that little tool for is, as I push these in place, sometimes I like to just push it forward so it gets it nice and snug together. Let's see if I can do this a little fast so we don't waste your time. Throw these pieces in. Really doesn't take that much time. The one thing about making the gun is selling it as a kit form. It's kind of fun for others to put together. It's always harder with the kids now that have all kinds of video games and stuff. It has to be a little bit challenging. I always say, though, if it's too challenging for you, find a teenager and they'll be able to put this together with no problem watching the video. Trying to rush through this. As you can see, it's just stacking them up. They actually fit kind of snugly in there. You can hear them clipping in. I don't know if you can hear. I'm just going to push this forward a little bit. Push that forward some more. I can see I'm getting down to how many more can I fit in here? Oh. I wonder if I could fit 2 more. I think that's about it. Okay. Now up at the front, put a little glue here. Same thing here. This time I flip around so the E's facing in towards the front. Put a little bit more glue on that. One thing about using Elmer's glue, at least if you get too much, it'll dry clear. You'll also notice in your design there's a few extra pieces that cut just in case you lose one or something you have extra. Okay, the top part's done. Let's I'm just holding my finger on it here, flip it upside down, because if you were doing it, you could just set it off to the side for a minute or two to let the glue dry a little bit. And we'll put the F's on the bottom. Same thing, just keep pushing them in there until it gets all the way to the end. Let's see if I can turn it that way to see if that gives you a better view. Once I get this done, I wanted to show you a little something, because sometimes I like the barrel to be nice and tight and snug. And if you look here, you'll notice that these things here are a little bit loose. I did put glue in there, but maybe it dried before. Let me put some more glue right here. The glue dried before it had a chance to adhere, so we're going to add a little bit more glue there and use one of our rubber bands that we used to shoot it with just to hold it together. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Put a little bit more here. Push that down. I think I can get one more on there. Okay, you see how this is out a little bit here? I'm pulling it apart just so you can see. I might want to just put a little squirt of glue in there on each side, because I want this thing to be tight up here. Wipe off this extra. Take one of my rubber things and just kind of wrap it around the front just to hold it together until that dries, and we can keep building the rest of the gun while we wait. I just noticed on the bottom of the barrel, I could put glue, but I know this is going to be tight enough. We'll just slide this clip in, kind of finishes off the bottom. Okay, now we have the front still to go. Let's put a little glue here. Got the big piece, the biggest one. The next two that's going to go on here, oh, you know, one thing I forgot to tell you is preliminary. We're going to do it differently right now. But I would think these pieces here, you should glue up before you get started, just so they have a time to dry first. It's going to make it a whole lot easier building your gun. I'm going to throw a little glue on it right now. It won't have time to dry before I put it on. This is just for the clip, where the rubber band is going to go right here. We'll get that all kind of lined up. And then we're going to set it off to the side and let it dry. The next pieces we're going to put on has a little cut in the top for your kind of like your aiming device or your, what do you call that? You know, it's funny when you're on video how you can get tongue-tied a bit. Put a little bit of glue in here. This is the piece. Slides right in here. You can see it right here. Now, this piece is going to get glued on the front. And that's for your trigger. I mean, for your rubber band slot, where your rubber band's going to fit in. This is all done. This is all done. Once this dries, of course, you can take this rubber band part off. This is where you're, sliding off because it's still so wet. Let me take and put it back into place. And you know what I can do is grab one of the finish guns. I'm going to set this off to the side so it just dries. Grab one of the finish guns and show you. This is the slot for the rubber band. These are the rubber band sizes. All that rubber band does is it slides into that slot, gets pulled back. You want the rubber band to stay on top of these two prongs and hook onto your sprocket right back there. And then she is ready to shoot. Let me aim it up here. It's something, so you can see. And that's your rubber band gun. I hope you have fun building this gun. Hopefully the video will make it easy. If it makes it a little tough, that's part of the fun of putting it together. Thank you very much.